Yo, can you hear me, guys?
Maya, welcome back, brother.
Yo, thanks very much for the invite. Appreciate it.
Of course, I feel like this is perfect timing to get you back on. I've seen some stuff percolating on the street account. Seems like you guys are kind of gearing up for Q1, some launches. What you call it? You were clear to say this is not a launch pad, it's more of a standard, but you're gearing up here to kind of kick live or flip the switch on in like Q1. Is that right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are a lot of projects we're about to launch in the close future. But yeah, Q1 is kind of the target. Obviously, it was initially scheduled to be November, but the market downturn has been so drastic. And also from our side, I feel like we were not really ready, being completely honest. Like we had to develop some more stuff, and we had to make sure everything is legally airtight, and we had to go further on the regulatory end. So yeah, it was just a decent timing to just continue to grind in the background and wait it out a bit.
You're on mute, Dom.
I was saying the last time we had you on, Maya, you were doing like an SF tour. You were exploring, I
Yes.
think, robotics in China, like just all around. Where are you right now? What are you up to currently?
Oh, I'm in Germany right now. I'm locked in my room and working all day. We actually released a new website like a few minutes ago, so that looks a lot prettier. But yeah, I was in SF. Actually, it was quite funny that you spoke about Krish before that, because I actually met Krish in San Francisco. Very intelligent guy, to be honest. So I don't know what he was on about with this meme coin, but I feel like in general he's a very knowledgeable and intelligent person.
Yeah, I saw he was doing some of those events. Did you catch up with that situation at all or no?
Again, sorry.
Yeah, no. Were you keeping up with that situation with Chris at all, or launching
Oh
or being part
yeah,
of some?
yeah. I
Yeah, I don't.
mean, yeah. You sadly can't miss it, but whatever. I hope he succeeds in the future and people will eventually forget about that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think I'm gonna see him in Abu Dhabi here coming. Are you gonna be in at Breakpoint or Abu Dhabi, or are you just skipping out those events?
I'm skipping out on everything right now, especially the crypto side. I think a lot more exciting things are in the Web2 side, and like robotics and AI. Like it's smarter to make connections there and not go to all these Solana, Breakpoint, ETH, DEF CON in I think Buenos Aires it was, and yeah, focusing on the Web2 angle and getting cool things on chain.
Maybe give me a dive into like your headspace right now. It seems like recently you've been really pessimistic on just crypto and maybe Solana in general more so. We saw you were working with Noise to maybe do some stuff on base, but
Yep.
I got your tweet up here. We're not gonna read through the whole thing. We actually just covered it before you came on, but maybe give us like an idea where you stand right now with Solana, ICM, just that whole concept.
Yeah, it to some degree feels like a lot of theater, and if you actually speak um like good founders in Web2 who raise money from ASICs, you can see from the best venture funds, none of these like current approaches make any sense at all. Like there's like several approaches, and I don't want to get into detail here and like talk bad about a certain launchpad or
Sure.
whatever. But I think that the easiest example is like doing buybacks with all your revenue, which is something Belief initially explored for a tiny bit of time. Like that stuff like that doesn't make any sense at all, and it would kill a company if they did it. It would kill an early stage company. And I mean, there are so many approaches now, and a lot of people realize that intrinsically valuable tokens are a pretty big market. Like making sure that charts look good is actually is actually a very unexplored market. So a lot of people realize and kind of try to do yeah their own version of it. And a lot of what they do is reinventing kind of the wheel of equity.
Yeah. Okay. And real quick, I'm looking for your website. I want to pull your new website out. It's not in the street bio yet, is it?
Oh, it's like street.app.
Street.app. pull that up for sake of visuals here. Let's see. Okay. But yeah, so you were fascinated with robotics, especially last time we came on. Any development there? You guys, obviously, I think one of the first projects you're launching with is going to be a robotics project.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about robotics overall. I think there's a huge vacuum of publicly accessible vehicles for robotics, and yeah, there's not even on the public stock market. There's not really a way to gain exposure to robotics companies. Tesla is an example which you can buy if you're bullish on robotics. But apart from that, there are some Chinese stocks and nothing really else. So it's an interesting industry, and it has like a very big overlap with what crypto's bullish on. A lot of these like Mechanism, for example, is like doing these SPVs and selling this Chinese humanoid robotics equity through that, which is primarily to crypto people, which is very interesting. So there's a big overlap in the overall interest here, and getting good robotics companies is not really easy, because a lot of crypto companies now try to kind of brand themselves as robotics, but what they don't really have the funding to even develop their own hardware. So what they do is they pivot into like these data software providers for hardware companies. And while that definitely is still value, it's not the real thing. Like it's an interesting part, but what crypto usually tries to do is like it's like this game of mirrors, right? Like if something is interesting in Web 2, they try to mirror it onto Web 3 rails. And this is especially hard for robotics, because robotics is inherently a hardware sector. So you can't really mirror it onto crypto rails, because what the fuck does hardware have to do with blockchain? So it's very hard to find intrinsic value for robotics tokens. Really difficult, because as a robotic company, you don't want to spin up your own blockchain. You just want to develop your own hardware. And how can you integrate a token in that? Probably not at all, unless it's equity anchored, unless it's something like ERC-S, which actually has intrinsic value in it. So I feel like if we, like, obviously robotics is still in the really early starting stages, but in case it ever gets that big, and I think it will get that big as AI, crypto will have no part of it at all. Like there's basically zero application for crypto. So to avoid that, and to also bring not only robotics but other interesting sectors to crypto, not only on chain, but in general to the overall crypto market, like you have to use ERC-S. There's no other way right now. So yeah, just excited about that.
And I agree with you. And it seems like the moat here is that a lot of the great robotics hardware manufacturers are based in China, because they have the advanced manufacturing skill set to build all the little components that go into it. They have regions of China that, are creating components that work together. And there's kind of like a state level coordination there. US investors just really can't get access to those companies because they're based in China. Many are probably still private. Like, is that kind of the niche that you think this robotics launch will address, and Street's the only place to get that? And maybe just high level thoughts on robotics, US first China.
Yeah, it's definitely a large issue right now for a lot of important people inside the venture space in the US, that robotics has such a or China has such a grip on robotics, and the US is lagging hard behind that. There are now a lot of interesting robotics hardware companies in the US, which is like OpenDroids, obviously. There's Sunday Robotics, which recently launched. Like there are a lot of these new launches, and a lot of venture funds in like Silicon Valley, not like people in China, are kind of exploring this sector now more and more, and it gets more it's getting more recognition inside Silicon Valley. It's what all the early AI people are interested in. Citrini Research, which is a really good researcher, a really good trader, put out this huge humanoid article like 4 months ago, which was really interesting to read through. So yeah, there's definitely a lack of public vehicles, and also private vehicles. So getting one of these private vehicles public, which is also made in the US, is, I think, a really, really cool thing.
Sweet. I'm looking at this introduction of the ERC-S app, and I guess I somehow missed this. But I'd love for you to walk us through this tweet, or just some of the things that maybe Street's going to offer that is currently unavailable for from most launch pads, or from most. I mean, no one's really offering what Street offers here, but do you want to walk us through some of your offerings that you have?
Yeah. So, initially, the question I tried to find an answer to is, how much control do you want to give to the token holders? Like ERC-S makes token holders protected investors, and it makes it true that if a company succeeds, the token also succeeds. That is for sure. But the control aspect is a totally different thing. MetaDAO, for example, lies heavily on the control aspect. There are other standards like Solitary, which is less known, but like these all focus on the control aspect. So I kind of asked myself this question: how much should token holders be able to control over the company? And kind of the logical answer here is nothing, even though it's not the answer that a lot of people would like to have. But if you think about it, even on the stock market, it's a lot of people are very short-sighted. In crypto, it's even worse. So while Street doesn't provide nothing in control-wise, or ERC-S provides nothing in control-wise, it's very limited. What you can do is, for example, do board proposals, and these board proposals have to be answered by the board. That's a very simple thing, but it's also something which a lot of other equity holders don't enjoy, which the SPV has like I guess a benefit here. What you can also implement is more enforcement layers, like a Futurkey governed treasury. So the market kind of decides whether the treasury, the volume fees project amasses throughout time will get distributed back to the project, or whether it stays inside this token ecosystem and only benefit the token ecosystem itself with buybacks or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of the control aspect that ERC-S gives to traders, but it's nothing close to full control, because that would be highly inefficient for any startup, and you literally can't pitch to a good founder, hey, the token holders, like some traders, will now have like full control over your startup. You won't find any good founder there.
That seems to be the argument I've seen most against something like MetaDAO. Although some of the launches on there have been extremely successful recently.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. Like I see it hard for maybe not all, because clearly not all, but a lot of serious founders to give up that much control to holders. Maybe it's an ego thing, maybe it's just wanting control of your own company thing. But I do see that as like an issue that is gonna be difficult for them to fix.
Yeah, it's not really an ego thing. I think it's more like VCs won't invest in you as because VCs they usually don't invest in a product, they invest in the founder behind it. So they won't invest in you if the founder has barely any control or no control over the company. So for MetaDAO, by the way, I don't want to sound like I'm fighting MetaDAO. I think MetaDAO found great PMF inside Web3. I think any project that is planning to do an ICO that wants to raise money from retail, they should go to MetaDAO, and they would be evil to not do so, because it's such a, I don't know, I just feel like it's a very evil thing to raise from retail investors and not to have something like MetaDAO set up.
Okay, Maya, we see a lot of people coming into the equity scene. We see, Soar's doing a sort of a debt structuring. We see the ICM guys are working on their own equity launch pad.
The Segway dude going back and forth.
Segway, Salutary, right? There's
whatever you want to address, feel free.
But yeah, maybe like why Street, right? And what are these guys maybe missing that you guys aren't?
I think two things contribute heavily to that. The first thing is that we don't reinvent the wheel of equity. You can go to us and you don't have to be a crypto company. You can tokenize 1% of your equity. You don't have to come fully on chain. You don't have to embrace crypto suddenly. You can go to us, have 1% tokenized, have 3% tokenized, and then speculation. You have speculation, and liquidity is a public good, and you don't even have to announce that you're launching. We can do that. Like, people don't have to adapt to crypto. That's the ultimate goal for that. I think a lot of people and a lot of competitors are trying to, I don't know, force people to embrace this kind of fast moving, fast paced crypto culture, and that enables like a feedback loop that that this is like the only way to go. Well, that shouldn't be the case, and it's actually very yeah, it's a kind of euthanasia roller coaster eventually. But yeah, the second thing is probably the most important thing, that our legal side is actually not sloppy. Like, we are filing for SEC licenses. We work with literally the best and the largest tech and crypto law firm inside the US. We work with literally the best providers for SPVs for this multinational setup that we have. Like, it's just not sloppy, and I don't know. I feel scared. Like, I'm a bit scared about a good project, a really good founder getting kind of lured into crypto by a lot of these people who will promise them like the world that they get like so much revenue and so much upside from crypto, which is right now they don't get. Like, being honest, the market is pretty dead. The volume is not here anymore. The users are kind of dwindling down, and people overpromise. And what I'm scared of is that some of these kind of slop equity launch pads or whatever are gonna come in here, promise the world, and get a really, really cool founder to commit to a framework which immediately one-shots their business, just because they invest either so much equity, like they commit so much equity to something, they commit so much debt to something, or they just focus on the wrong thing, or even the standard becomes illegal and is not like will get like the founder will get hunted down eventually. So I don't know. I feel like it's a scary thing, because a lot of founders, or not a lot of founders, but like some people trust other people, other crypto people too quickly, and they go into bed with some of with some people too quickly. And I don't know. I'm generally just concerned that a good startup which would have else contributed really positively to this world is gonna get one-shotted by this. But yeah, that's kind of my view.
Maybe on that, and I'm sure Dom was headed here at some point. Let's talk about Avi from Kled. You seem to kind of have saved him a little bit from the Believe like cluster, let's call it. Yeah, is like, can you just describe the things that you just mentioned in the context of something like a Kled? And then there are some community questions, I'm sure. I'm sure Dom will have others.
Yeah, what exactly is the question for Kled?
So yeah, the question more so is like you described about founders kind of going through the gauntlet with crypto and, you know, kind of handing over too much of their business, or just, you know, it's kind of a reckless endeavor for a lot of Web2 founders to raise from crypto investors. Kled obviously did that, or launched on Believe. At least they didn't necessarily raise capital, but now they're in this scenario where it's like they're kind of in that middle ground and they're going to launch on your platform. Can you just talk about kind of that transition and yeah, how you saved Avi from the trenches, let's say?
So the transition, as a token holder, you won't notice it. They don't have to relaunch. Nothing for you changes apart from the token actually being valuable, and you don't have to fear anything from like the relaunch thing, or like some technicalities going wrong, and like it's, I don't know, the LP draining. Like there's no technicality involved in adding ERC-S to Kled's stack right now. And yeah, just brief overview of like the Belief drama back then. I don't know. I just felt like obviously the decision wasn't on me, it was more on Avi, but yeah, it was just irreparable, the relationship between these two people. And the most productive way for both of them was just to just go to two different paths. And I think they did that very well. And even though Pasternak is obviously not the most well-liked person right now, I feel like it was a good choice of him to not commit to ICM, especially for the last 2 months. I think whatever he's doing, and I'm sure he's gonna announce it eventually, I think it's still gonna be interesting.
Interesting. I see more development here on this. This website is pretty cool. I'm just toying around with it now. We see Sword just launched the first token, and of course they do that debt equity structure. One of the feedback they were receiving was, well, liquidity is super thin because there's only 6% of float circulating here. Obviously, I see on your platform you talk about how you can tokenize 1%. And over here on this little scale, you can give reasons why it's either a good idea, bad idea, maybe you don't recommend it, advise it, etc. How do you guys plan on going about these launches? What are you going to advise in terms of equity percentage to sell, and how are you going to combat against like liquidity issues?
Yeah, so first of all, like where we are planning to do these launches is mostly up to the founder. Obviously we have a strong advice every time, and we're literally our only go, like we don't monetize, we don't get any cash, like Street doesn't get any cash from the launch itself. We don't get a single volume fee. So literally our only incentive is long-term like advisory equity, which vests for 4 years. So we want to make sure that wherever they launch is going to be the most productive for a long time, and it's not just going to be something very interesting for I don't know, for a week, like a hype launch pad like Bonk Fun, for example, like a few months ago. So that's kind of that approach for the amount of equity. It's usually the lower the better, and that does not specifically talk about Clet. Like I know a lot of people are trying to get me to leak what amount of equity Avi is gonna put as a backing, so I can't disclose that. For Clet, it's something else. So usually the less is actually the better, because crypto is not at the stage right now where people can get 20 really good launches, which can all go to 100M. Like that's just, it's just not, like, being realistic. Like I wish it was possible, and I wish we could sustain like such a input of new launches, of new exciting things. But realistically speaking, that won't work. It won't happen. So we have to optimize for the long-term success. And actually, if you scroll down a bit lower here, on this website, there's like a small disclaimer above our philosophy here. People can eventually contribute more equity to the SPV, making the token more valuable because there's more equity backing in there. So that's our goal. It's to eventually like start smaller with some companies, and to move forward with more equity. Once the market gets better, once these founders realize that what they're doing, this crypto thing is actually a cool thing, and they actually get a lot of benefits from it, then sure, go on. You feel free to take it more seriously. I think that's it's just the only correct approach.
Okay, well, that's interesting because you said, once people realize the benefits that they get from this. And again, in your tweet that I kind of referenced earlier, it seemed like you were being a little bit pessimistic about just crypto and no real quality founders launching, obviously, because of the token structure. But maybe what are some of those benefits of crypto? I think you did a really good proposal on why, I think, was it OpenAI or one of these private companies could launch and just make a ton of money in fees, and like a certain amount per day was like a really good selling point. So maybe give us an idea why you think these founders would want to launch token.
So yeah, there obviously like two different types here. There's like larger companies like OpenAI, where I think if they would launch with ERC-S, it would be really big for them. Like I'm not saying this is like this kind of low IQ slop take, but I actually think that the network effect behind that, and like kind of making them a publicly accessible company inside crypto, would would actually be beneficial for them over doing an IPO, over doing a traditional IPO, because a traditional IPO just moves away so much voting rights and so much control over the company, and additionally it dilutes the whole equity, and the bubble might pop eventually. So but yeah, obviously the larger benefit, which is not only revenue, is for pre-seed, seed stage companies. And there's a big difference for people who want to tokenize like 10% or 20% of their equity, and people who just want to do like 1% or 3% or 3%. For these lower tiers, what immediately is something I think currently nobody in ICM is talking about, is that there are a lot of these synthetic perps platforms for private companies. Robinhood is doing that, Ventures is doing that, and these founders get like not a single cut of the revenue here. So they get back control over this vehicle. They have a spot market which is just way superior to synthetic perps, where you pay funding all the time and you have platform risk. And yeah, obviously they get revenue and they can do something with these spot tokens. They don't just sit on like a decentralized exchange like Hyperliquid. So I feel like you can use these tokens, and for user acquisition, for an attention engine like Colette is really good at, or just as an additional revenue source, just by making your company tradable. But if you commit like a larger amount, then like if you, I don't know, like 10% to 20%, then you have to take it really, really seriously, and you have to actually start embracing crypto and integrating crypto a bit more. You have to slightly pivot into the crypto space. Avi is a good example of that, who has been, in my opinion, successful in committing so big into this crypto scene. But that shouldn't be the case for everybody, and not everybody is Avi Patel. Like there are only a few people who can I don't know, be that retarded sometimes.
That's the truth.
There's someone here, and we kind of missed this in the talking about Cled, but they're just wondering, are we still farming Street Foundation points by holding Cled?
Yes. I apologize, by the way, for the points dashboard still not being live. It'll be live this week. You have pinky promise on that, but
there we go.
Pinky promise.
Me a pinky promise. Good. Yeah, but do you think a lot of these, back to the private equities conversation, you know, that are traded on Robinhood, maybe on X stocks, etc., are they even aware? The Robinhood's a little bigger, but are they even aware that there are these secondary markets that are trading their private equity?
Yes. OpenAI had a huge falling out with Robinhood there.
That's right.
So
publicly, they were like, "This doesn't represent."
Yeah, this is shit. Like, and how do you avoid that with ERC-S? It's simple. Like these companies like Ventures, I don't want to say they're evil, but like their business model is not a very, like, it's a business model which makes sense and saturates a market, but it's not the end stage. It's an in-between stage between spot tokens, which are representing private companies, and like private companies being private completely. So it's just an in-between stage for now.
Okay, on a bit of a different topic, and based on the tweet we were talking about earlier with you, you said it's unlikely we see the first couple projects you guys use as standard for going to Solana, right? And obviously you've teamed up with Noise here, who I think is base centric or base native. Maybe give your thought process on why base is maybe winning right now. Interestingly, we saw Monad launch recently, and if I was looking at the numbers correctly, and Vibu, of course, I'm getting my source from, I think Vibu is my source, so he has a vested interest in Solana doing well. I think we saw more volume flowing through Solana than we did Ethereum. Could be wrong about that, but have you guys, I don't know, is there any thoughts there, or why base? I guess I should ask.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm like, the reason ERC-S tokens launch somewhere is never just because of me. I'm just giving my advice to people. Like, obviously it's the founder's decision where to launch. From my side, I'm just not confident in Solana's ability to make it possible that a Web2 founder launches on their blockchain and doesn't have a terrible experience. At least right now. I feel like we are at the point of the cycle where everybody is down 90% or 80% of their portfolio, and they're getting a bit more toxic, and usually they are gambling addicted. It was very similar in like 2022, on like when Binance Smart Chain had this like similar hype to what Solana has nowadays, and also the NFT season kind of ended, and everything started crashing down. FTX then happened afterwards. A lot of people got really toxic, and a lot of these momentum traders, they already existed back then. It was like it's not a new thing which only Solana brought, and eventually these momentum traders, they get washed out, they get rinsed out by the market because the market changed, and they are not able to adapt because their brain is fogged with their gambling addiction. I mean, it sounds harsh, but it's sadly a true thing, which a lot of people suffer of and don't realize that. But yeah, eventually these people will naturally be rinsed out of the market, and I feel after that there's going to be a time again where people are able to hold and invest in assets which are also going to be valuable because of ERC-S. So yeah,
do you think that's already starting to happen? And we were talking pre-show, and I felt like more of it was because of the like fair launch model that Pump and Believe used, and then a good portion of the value extraction coming from those early snipers, which every Believe and Pump chart looks like candle and then down and sideways for forever as it's distributed out. But like, do you think, I think maybe that was part of the problem too, is the sniper infestation on Solana and just the extraction in the first 3 candles.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that it's not really over until a lot of these kind of price agnostic snipers and like all these like momentum traders just leave. I think it's already starting. Like we obviously see it starting, like a lot of like people who made a lot of money sniping launches, who momentum traded for the last year, they're starting to see their portfolio go down, and some of them are able to adapt to this, some are not, and some already got rinsed out. So I think it already started, but it'll take longer, I feel like.
Yeah,
because
like in all fairness to like you mentioned MetaDAO, they, Avicii and a few of those have been reasonably successful. Soar did CPT, which we covered and had a huge live audience. That's done pretty well or held up pretty okay. So there are some little tidbits of light at the end of the tunnel, let's say.
Yeah, I do agree. Also, I think that the Avicii founder is one of the most talented and most crypto natural founders ever. I haven't seen a single guy go onto CT and be that good with CT. He's a wunderkind. Like, he's really good at this.
I put a tweet the other day saying like Ram founder of Avicii has been a perfect combination for like, he launched when MetaDAO was an early enough primitive. He was perfect when it came to like the narrative. They had time in the market. Like everything really just lined up for Avicii to be like a breakout product. And you're completely right. Ram uniquely is a great founder for CT, which is not the case for all founders.
Yeah, it's definitely not the case, but he's a great example of like also a good example which we can later like discuss with our portfolio companies, with people who wanna like really commit into crypto with like 20% or more. Like he's a really good example to study how you should approach this. He's a very, very talented marketing guy. So yeah, big props to
credit to Patrick, who did launch on Soar. He ran like Fubu TV up in the COVID hype. It was a streaming platform from like something like $2 billion IPO on the NASDAQ to 9.5 billion. And then runs like a huge family office in Hong Kong. I mean, I don't know if he can do it again. So I'm not going to say CPT's next big thing, but not necessarily a nobody. And did that. So
yeah. I really like the idea behind it. I think it's a really novel idea, and I think if they're able to execute this, it's going to be pretty big. Also, if they're able to execute this with the, I think the DRP standard is called by Soar, then the token holders will definitely have a really, really good financial gain from that, like for sure. So yeah.
So clearly you're studied up on CPT and DRP standard. Are like these the founders you're trying to maybe evangelize to? Like obviously Patrick launching on Street, Patrick launching anywhere would be big for any platform, but are these the type of founders you're interested in getting to tokenize through Street, your ERC-S standard?
Well, Patrick specifically, well, I'm not totally sure, but I think he has a vested interest in SOAR, but I'm not totally sure on that. So I'm it was like always their launch, I guess. So we never spoke to him beforehand. But yeah, from the archetype, like we have a certain archetype of projects, which is obviously very bold ideas, like things where a lot of like traditional venture funds would even like say, hey, I would rather pass on this route, and like you have to like go to like founders fund or like some of these like contrarian VCs who exclusively kind of invest in these very contrarian ideas. So obviously these very bold ideas is something really interesting, and it fascinates me in crypto how you're able to kind of story tell your vision into existence. I think that's a beautiful thing with crypto. You can literally, if you're good in storytelling your own vision, you will make it. You will literally storytell it into existence. I think that's such a cool thing in crypto, and yeah, I feel like a lot of founders could benefit of that as well. So yeah, bold ideas, contrarian ideas, and just founders who are like relentlessly able in executing. That's, I mean, obviously everybody looks for that, but it's actually a very rare trait. So
it's an interesting point, but like I think you're spot on. You see that the outliers in crypto that do really well are these very difficult to value primitives, where it's like it either hasn't been explored, and if you're a really good storyteller, you can almost bull post that thing up to absurd valuations. So it's an interesting way to look at investments.
Yeah, it's not only the kind of bull posting it up. Like if you bull post, like Sam Altman literally did that. There are a lot of like Web2 founders who like literally are good at storytelling and are good at like convincing the public that like AGI will happen and will kill everybody. Like obviously you want to have a part of that if you're a VC. So there are a lot of like these people who yeah,
they don't always end well though. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I guess that's the benefit of having a liquid market. You can you don't have to wait for a liquidity event. You can kind of speculate on when you think is the best time to exit.
Yeah, sure. That's definitely a good thing. And also like what's also pretty important where we look for is like no incremental improvements. And I think a lot of crypto people didn't really realize that yet. Like a lot of crypto traders didn't realize that like if you invest in something which is like slightly better than something else, it will literally never go up in value. Like if you make hyperliquid in slightly better, nobody cares.
Yeah.
So it's a big issue in yeah, it's a big issue with a lot of crypto credit traders, so they don't realize that, and we don't want to onboard these startups which are like, I don't know, we did Google with this new feature. Like that doesn't make any sense.
So I'm gonna kind of pivot here, and I want to be respectful of your time, so we don't need to take too much longer here. But on back to this Noise partnership, it seems like an angle of Streets is maybe partnering up with funds or people that have holdings under, assets under management, whatever it might be, and then having them kind of refer when it comes to tokenizing those assets. Can you tell us a little bit about that strategy and maybe how this partnership with Noise is symbolic of that?
Yeah, so it's definitely a strategy to actually partner eventually with VCs. I think right now, this early, it might be cutting some ties, because we like naturally we will probably be forced to then like actually use ERC-S for each and every one of these portfolio companies, and some of them we might not even want to touch.
Yeah.
So it's too early to like actually do like safe like complete like binding contracts with teams. But what I'm always happy to do, like my goal is, if a launchpad has a project which want to tokenize on there, that I want to make sure that this asset of this founder is investable and is like an investable vehicle for people to speculate on. And if that founder succeeds, then the token should also succeed. So that's kind of my philosophy here, and why we're partnered with Noise, for example.
So are you guys more focused on synergies between like funds, VCs, holdcos, rather than specific companies, or would you say it's just a big mix of both?
It's a big mix of everything. So there's like not like we don't have like a strategy to partner with A16Z to get all the speedrun companies on chain. Like it's too early for that. Eventually maybe, but right now not yet.
Gotcha. Josh, you have some questions. I'll let you take away.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of wrap a little bit on this, but maybe on the just what holders get from a transparency standpoint. SOAR has like a section where you can add like, you know, patent filings, decks, you know, additional equity issuance. What do you guys see for yourselves as things that are disclosed to holders?
Yeah, so first of all, you're gonna get an audit of that SPV from a little S tier law firm. So you actually know that the things that are disclosed there are true and it's not some fugazi. What we also allow is auditing of these companies. Like if a ERC-S token launches, we can audit them. We never, and that's I think a big difference here. We never force them to get audited, but we allow them. We kind of do the auditing for them, and the market shall punish accordingly if they refuse this audit. And that's a really important thing, because not every private company should be audited. Like you have a significant disadvantage to your competitors if you're constantly being audited and if everybody knows what you're doing and how your financials look like. And then it's like alpha for your competitors, and they will use that and kill you as a startup. So we will never force it onto people, but what we can do, for example, is like just confirm it with like a good audit firm that this company is not like running away with the money. Like stuff like that is possible, and it's not kind of disrupting the natural life of a startup.
Maybe some other questions are just kind of like timeline. You mentioned Q1 next year. People might ask like when CLED, what should traders, I guess, or potential investors, what should they be doing? Should they be going on to Street now and setting up an account? Like, yeah, give them some things that they can do, next steps.
So yeah, CLED will launch in batch 2. Avi wants to kind of understand how he's gonna communicate this to I think both CT and both to his own investors. Like he wants to know how to market it correctly and to pump the chart up correctly. So I think he's smart by doing that.
Very smart. I'm surprised. You know, Avi's very sometimes quick to act, so I'm glad he's taken a step back on that. Smart.
Yeah, I think too. I like obviously ERC-S is a safe thing. Like it's not gonna like it's nothing dangerous to do, but I feel like that since he's already in crypto, he can actually take a step back, look how everything is evolved, how everything is kind of how he should approach this, I think is the better way to say it, and then he can make a final decision. Also, the market moves up and down right now for CLED. It's not supply controlled at all, sadly.
Yeah.
So
and don't you own a big chunk of CLED tokens, don't you? Like you bought a bunch.
I wish I owned more. I wish I owned like 90% of the supply and could control the chart. Then yeah, that would be good. But
is it disclosed on X your holdings of CLED? And you don't have to, but if it is, if you want to, what do you own?
2.2% in a publicly available wallet, and then I have like some smaller side wallets with
some
like
side stuff going on.
Yeah, but like I know this sounds shady, but like I don't know. I think people know me and like know that I'm like literally talking to Avi every fucking day, and like trying to make this work. Like I literally introduced him to robotics companies. So I don't know. I'm
of course, yeah.
Dude, I'm back working hard, guys. Please.
Yeah.
He also offered, I know, a few top holders the opportunity to buy into private equity into the CLED company. Do you own any private equity in the CLED company itself?
Yeah, so I have an advisory agreement which isn't vested until 4 years. So yeah, it's just a long-term advisory agreement.
What's your thesis on Cled? Why do you own so much exposure?
I feel like in the beginning I had a very I wouldn't say immature, but a thesis which nowadays doesn't fit anymore, because it just got more educated on the overall market, on the overall like data selling market. So initially my thesis was like, and this is kind of still the core idea of the business, of like the virality narrative is like upload your data and get paid. Like that is the most viral thing that could ever be. But the issue is that camera rolls are not so valuable. They have value to a lot of labs, but they're like not the most valuable thing ever. So that thesis kind of wasn't that correct probably. But Avi since then has been able to kind of find new ways of making this funnel very valuable. For easiest examples, like he had this example of like potholes on New York cities. Like things like that are actually so valuable for private companies or for the state itself. So even stuff like that is interesting from like a pure consumer angle. Then for a B2B angle, the robotics data and robotics is so scarce, and there are not a lot of providers who are able to sell and even like create data themselves, like telemetry data. And that's like for robotics, you need a lot more data, and you need or you essentially need a lot more high quality data, not just data that is scraped off the internet, which is how AI labs are currently doing it. You actually need high quality data with telemetry data with it. So
do you think his USP or his kind of like moat is the data tagging like approach? Like, does he have some beyond just like collecting it, getting people to put it on the platform? I think that's not as valuable as processing it into a useful like piece of data that can be ingested elsewhere.
I don't think that's his mode. I think his mode is literally the crypto angle. I think literally by having this crypto coin and by being able to distribute it to so many people, and by being Avi Patel and being like this yapping attention generating bitch, he's gonna be able to scale this to so many users and to abuse crypto users to do what he wants and to provide the data that people want to buy from him. So I think it wouldn't work without crypto, and I think that's why he's probably going to choose a larger equity chunk over like what other companies are going to do.
Yeah, he's been pretty vocal about putting a larger size towards that equity chunk. So interesting stuff. Josh, anything else? You had a few questions. Nope. Okay.
No,
Maya, well, we appreciate you
Oh,
coming on.
street, is there a street token ever coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Any timeline on it? I remember you said not coming soon.
Nothing soon. I don't want to launch with I haven't proven myself, if Street hasn't proven itself as a viable solution.
Yeah.
So don't expect anything in the probably next 2 years.
Good.
Like gonna take a long time.
All the launch pads, I think, like having a token has been a severe.
Yeah, it's just
like,
downside.
It's held back almost every launch pad that has a token, unless you're fully established, like Pump, or some very other rare outliers. But I love that. Maya.
Well, Maya, we needed more new launches and more things to talk about. We built this show from nothing to be a great ICM show, and we need more content. So pump out some great startups, and we were doing some of the live launches for SOAR. If you ever want to do something similar, we'd be happy to set it up. So
yeah, sure.
Roll out.
Let's do that. That sounds funny.
You're the man. All right, Maya. You know what? Maybe I'll play this little video before we leave because I thought it was pretty cool. I actually haven't watched it in full yet, but it's explaining ERC-S like a 12-year-old.
Oh yeah, great
outro. Yeah, we'll kick you out there. So
you have the solves the fundamental. Is that the one you want, or the video?
Yeah, this video, the ERC-S for beginners.
Okay, I thought you were gonna play the commercial is so hype.
The commercial is great too. This is just a brand new one, 5 hours ago.
All right, sure.
All right.
I don't know if there's volume on your side, Dom, but the volume's not coming through. But that's okay. I think everyone gets the
Brother.
gets
Why
the
didn't you say
point.
something? This always happens.
That's all right.
All right.
By the
Blue
way,
Wash-
the video that you did share, the commercial was hype. That was great. I did enjoy that.
We're actually gonna do like a few days, okay? Wait like a two, maybe one and a half week, but we're gonna pump these commercial out like we have, I don't know, 10 million in seed funding. So yeah, definitely be excited about that. That's gonna be funny.
Wow, you guys raised $10 million.
Yeah, wait.
No, like we had 10 million.
Oh,
I'm like, wait a minute.
So-
We should probably talk about that.
I was like, yo, Maya, like, can we get a bag? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
That's
all right. Yeah,
amazing.
you're right. These videos hype. Then we're gonna be paying attention. We'll definitely document. I'm excited. I love these videos. So
Yeah. Look, I hope you guys can raise $10 million one day. Like, I
Oh, we
want
will.
more for
We
this.
will.
I want more for ICM.
are you?
Maybe
are
we
you
already
looking to
raised.
raise?
It's like you announce races whenever you need a new race. Like that's how it works. Like you only announce it when you're ready to raise the next 10 million. Like, so yeah, maybe we already raised and we never disclosed, and we'll eventually disclose.
Ooh, something to think about there. Okay. Well, Maya, as always, pleasure talking to you. We appreciate you coming on, giving us the update,
Likewise.
the scoop on SOAR. So, or
Thanks for having me, guys.
Street.
Appreciate it.
all right,
He
brother.
meant stay street. See you,
Yeah.
Maya. Thank you so much.
All right, brother.
See you. Goodbye.